Lord have mercy, Trump just posted this absolutely insane video, and the onus is on us to debunk his lies. And do you guys remember about a week ago when Trump kept rambling about being the protector of women? He will protect them. Well, VP Harris just came out with possibly the most perfect response ever. This reads, Harris says Trump doesn't need to be the protector of women. He has to trust them to make their own decisions. Now, that is a type of presidential rhetoric that we should expect from a candidate. She understands the dynamics at play, that if you're the president of the United States, you represent the will of the people. Your goal isn't to wrap them around your thumb and have them loyal to you like you're some weird protector. I mean, when Trump says he is the protector of women, who is he protecting them from? Himself? His own laws that strip away their rights across the country, that revert states like Arizona back to an 1864 law? This reads, VP Harris said Wednesday that the women don't need Trump to be their protector, but instead need the former president to trust them to make their own reproductive decisions. Trump keeps saying that women will, quote, no longer think about abortion, and it's just odd rhetoric. Quote, Donald Trump is also the person who said women should be punished for exercising a decision that they rightly should be able to make about their own body and future, VP Kamala Harris continued. Now, we have a lot of news to break down with 40 days to go until the election and no time to waste, so make sure you leave a like, make sure you're subscribed, and let's jump right in with this video of Texas Representative James Tallarico absolutely obliterating Donald Trump. This may be the best thing I've seen all day.
Christian nationalists have taken Trump as their new Christ because he's everything the first one was not. Jesus was poor. Trump is rich. Jesus was meek. Trump is a bully. Jesus lost, and Trump is obsessed with winning. I honestly think that if Donald Trump and J.D. Vance met Jesus today, they would ridicule him as a single, childless hippie. And in fact, Donald Trump Jr. explicitly rejected Jesus' Sermon on the Mount. He said, turning the other cheek has, quote, gotten us nothing. How did we get to the point where loving your enemy is weak and loving your neighbor is woke? I mean, they are literally rejecting the central teachings of Jesus because those teachings don't serve their own self-interest. Christian nationalism is not about the way of Jesus. It's about the pursuit of power.
Amazingly well said from James Tallarico, who represents Texas's 53rd district. And I do want to say, I feel like sometimes red states produce the best Democratic messengers. Sometimes, like Pete Buttigieg is from Indiana, this guy is from Texas, because they grow up learning how to maneuver around Republicans their entire life. But Gavin Newsom does break that mold. But this dude is completely right, and it's only reinforced by the rhetoric of Republicans over the past few weeks. A great example is Representative Clay Higgins. I mean, just take this Democratic Texas representative and compare him with Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana, who doubled down on his wildly racist tweet from yesterday where he talked about voodoo. He used a bunch of racist stereotypes. Remember, he was the one that said, lol, these Haitians are wild, eating pets, voodoo, nastiest country in the Western Hemisphere, cults, slapstick gangsters, blah, blah, blah. All these thugs better get their mind right and their ass out of our country. Now, he was forced to delete this after he was confronted on the House floor, but then he subsequently doubled down and said it's all true. GOP representative doubles down after wildly racist tweet sparks huge backlash, and that reminds me of what James Tallarico is saying right here. Why is being nice now considered wokeness? And Republicans are wondering why they're losing in the polls. Jack Posobiec, who is most likely being paid by some sort of foreign entity, I don't want to make any implications here, but I wouldn't be surprised, posted something is happening, and he's making the implication that Democrats are stealing the election because the map is becoming increasingly blue. I mean, I'm just going to scroll down to the comments. They said they're cheating like usual, par for the course. They need people to think the steal is believable. They're setting it up to tell us she gets the presidency. So they all think the election is being stolen simply because a lot of these states are turning into toss-ups. Michigan, Harris, 52 to 47. By the way, if Harris is above that 50% threshold, it is basically a win, but still we have to take into account the margin of error. Wisconsin, 50 to 49. Pennsylvania, it's a tie. North Carolina, a tie. I mean, these numbers aren't even absolutely insanely good for VP Harris. I don't know why these numbers would indicate a stolen election. But Republicans always have to be the victim because they don't understand that normal Americans don't like to constantly hear conspiracy theories about their neighbors who happen to be migrants. Now, I want to play this Trump clip, but first, I think we should talk about the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams, getting indicted and his disgusting rhetoric after it. It's very Trumpian rhetoric. He's undermining the same institutions that prosecuted Trump a few months ago. He's undermining the institutions surrounding him in the same way that Trump does, and it's pretty disgusting. We have to fight back against this rhetoric in our own party.
My fellow New Yorkers, it is now my belief that the federal government intends to charge me with crimes. If so, these charges will be entirely false.
I mean, it's all BS. If the federal government indicts a mayor of New York City, you can bet that they have really good evidence. They're not going to do that based off of nothing. This reads, the charge against the mayor is not yet known, nor is how many other people may be implicated in the indictment, but it is believed to be related to the mayor's fundraising efforts in 2021. What we need to do is be against corruption, no matter what side of the aisle we're on. I saw a lot of people on Twitter rightfully calling this out as very Trumpian rhetoric, and we cannot stand for this in our party, because if we have him undermining our institutions and Trump doing it at the same time, it is a recipe for disaster. Here is a clip of Trump saying that the country would be perfect if we just had voted him in 2020.
Trump. We had no problems. The world was safe. There was no terrorist attacks under Trump. Russia wasn't taking land under Trump. Israel would have never been attacked under Trump. Think of it, all the difference that we'd have. No inflation.
There's more of the video to play, but Ron Filipkowski said, this hurricane would have never happened if Trump was president. That is genuinely something that Trump would say. I wouldn't be surprised if he says it on the trail today. He'll be like, honestly, this hurricane would have never happened.
No wars. It would be a much different world right now, much better world. But that's not the way it is. We're heading toward World War III. We have grossly incompetent leaders. In fact, do we even have leaders? She's in there cramming so that she can do an interview with somebody. And Joe is just sleeping. He just got back from a long vacation in California. He was going to go back to Washington, D.C., made a little turn. He went back to his vacation home in Delaware. He's taking another vacation. He wants to spend more time on the beach sleeping.
I'm sorry, but didn't Trump golf more than any other president in the history of America? And Trump's fear-mongering tactics about World War III are built on a foundation of lies. He is the one who would inch us closer to World War III with this terrible peace plan for Russia-Ukraine. He wants to cede Ukrainian land to Russia, therefore showing Russia that it's okay if you invade your next-door neighbor. In fact, this will incentivize Russia to relaunch this war after they rearm in a few years. And then what happens after they take Ukraine? They go on to the next country, and the next country, and then NATO necessarily gets involved when Article 5 is triggered. I mean, under Trump's plan, Russia would have just taken Ukraine either way, and it would have had to pull all of Europe in, and then necessarily the US would have had to get pulled in. So we are walking a tightrope, and the ability to keep the war contained within Ukraine is what Biden is trying to do by providing military equipment. Trump would uproot all of that. But back to this BS video.
For a country that's under all of this siege, with these people, we're going to end up in World War III. It's not going to happen with Trump.
He said that already. I absolutely love it. It reeks of desperation, and you can jump to any point in this video and he's making this pursed lip face. You know he's desperate when his lips are pursed like this constantly, and he's leaning over into the camera. I mean, he's getting old and desperate, and VP Harris is now doing great on the campaign trail. And this is all coming as Mark Robinson's campaign is melting down. Mark Robinson just posted, Jesse Banal and his team have launched a full-scale investigation into the allegations leveled against me by CNN. I have offered them complete cooperation and full transparency as they do so. I fully expect the facts are going to come to light quickly, and I intend to utilize every available means to hold CNN accountable for what they have done. The media is working hand in hand with Josh Stein. The thing is, the forum messages that were confirmed by CNN, the Washington Post, basically every independent outlet, there's no way you could fake these chat logs from over a decade ago before Mark Robinson entered politics while he used that that same social media handle, Mini Soldier, throughout all of his social media accounts. Unless there's somebody who traveled back in time and planted these messages in 2011 or whatever for Mark Robinson because they knew he was going to enter politics in a decade from then, obviously that didn't happen. So the lawsuit is going to be fruitless. The reason they're doing it is because that is the entire tactic of the Trump world. If you deflect, if you countersue, it muddies the water so much that a few people in North Carolina might be convinced it's AI. I mean, I've talked to a few Trump supporters already who say, oh, the whole Mark Robinson story is fake. He's already suing them back. So that is the entire Trump tactic taught to him by Roy Cohn in New York a while back. Lie, deflect, attack, never admit defeat, always countersue, hold press conferences and control the narrative. But it's not going too well. With all of that said, I am getting a little bit nervous about the election. We have 40 days to go, and it is basically a coin flip right now. Think about it. VP Harris is ahead 2 or 3 points nationally and in a lot of these swing states. And while, yes, that is good, the Electoral College generally favors Republicans by that same margin. It gives them a 2 or 3 point advantage. So right now, I'm nervous. I'm nervous because there is a reality on election night where the unthinkable happens and PA goes to Trump by 13,000 votes, the slimmest margin possible. And we're all sitting there wondering how this could have happened when in reality, Trump has had 10 years to run his campaign. Kamala has had 90 days. So the reason I'm saying all this is because we need to mobilize. We need to vote. We talk about a lot of good news on this show, but we still need to hammer down and make sure we do the work. I'll be in Wisconsin mobilizing voters in early October. Check it out in the description below. Have a great day yourself. You can find my Kamala mugs in the description below, Rosie the Riveter. Use code BLUEHEART for 15% off, and peace out.